Start recording. So hello everyone in the 5 continents and welcome to another edition of our International English Online Webinars. This morning we have 3 ladies from Bolivia and they are Alba Maria, Isela and Paola. Thank you so much, dear ladies, for giving us part of your time on a Sunday morning. Okay, as usual, let me share my screen so you know what we are going to be doing this morning. Okay, here is the PowerPoint. This is our 135th International English Online Meeting today, August the 23rd, 2025. If you want to watch our past webinars, you can find them in our International Online Meetings YouTube channel. Okay, who are our upcoming guest speakers this year? Well, we are going to have in September Evelyn Lugo and Princess Kimberly from Puerto Rico. Then on September 28th, we will have a roundtable talking about autism because my grandson has this condition, so we are going to talk about that. Then in October, Marcela Burgos from Argentina. Later, Isadora Pereira from Brazil. And then Cintia Rolón, Carolina Ortiz, Remigio Díaz, Rocío Mazzoleni, and Maura Salimben. They belong to TESOL Paraguay in November. And then in December, Kathy Ramirez, Adriana Sanchez, and Claudia Maria from Asocopi, Colombia. Okay, who is our guest speaker today? Well, actually, who are our 3 guest speakers today? Well, we have Alba Maria, Paola Ortega, and Isela Coronado. The first place, we are going to have Paola Ortega. She will be talking about building critical thinking and creative minds in the EFL classroom. Okay, something about Paola. Paola is a TESOL certified educator and a State Alumna with a bachelor's degree in English and French language. Bonjour, mademoiselle. Vous parlez français. Très bien. With a decade of teaching experience, she's also the author of the article Basic Competencies for Sustainable Development in Higher Education Institutions. She's also a member of BETA Bolivia. Paola enjoys both attending and leading workshops where she shares her expertise and also learns from others. Currently, she teaches at the Bolivian Catholic University and the Binational Center of Tarija. So thank you, dear Paola. Then we have our good friend and president of BETA TESOL, Isela Coronado, sorry. She will be talking about unlocking potential through multiple intelligences in the English classroom. Something about my good friend Isela. She's a seasoned teacher and an educator with over 15 years of classroom experience. She holds a bachelor's degree. She holds a bachelor's degree in English studies and has completed postgraduate courses in English for specific purposes and higher education. As a dedicated professional, Isela loves designing and adapting materials for diverse topics. She is the national president of BETA, affiliated with TESOL and IATEFL. She has represented BETA Bolivia at several international conventions. She currently teaches English at the Elena the White Adventist School. Her goal is to expand knowledge, share experiences globally, and inspire students to become confident educators. And the third one is our good friend Alba Maria Cruz. She will be talking about social emotional learning applied. After graduating from the Carrera de Idiomas language department in Santa Cruz at Gabriel René Moreno University, Alba Maria Cruz has always worked as an English teacher in different public and private institutions. Being an educator, she was awarded with a Fullbright scholarship and had the chance to work as an English language coach nationally. So once again, dear Paola, Alba Maria, and Isela, thank you so much because it's a Sunday morning. You could be sleeping, resting, watching TV, enjoying your Sunday, but you prefer to share your time with us. So thank you for that. So we are going to start with, who's going to start again?
Me, Paola.
Paola. So the screen is all yours, so you may start presenting. You have 30 minutes, dear Paola.
Okay, hold on just a second, please. I'm going to share my screen then.
Okay, don't worry.
Let me see, where is it? Okay, give me just a moment. Slide. Can you see my screen, Jaime?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Well, this picture is you can see here the map of Bolivia, and I'd like to start with this so that you know where I am from. I'm from Tarija, that's in the south of Bolivia. You can see here a couple of pictures. And well, my city is some hours away from Argentina. So we are very close to that country in this part of Bolivia. All right, so let's continue. I have the pleasure to start this session today with my topic, which is building critical thinking and creative minds in the EFL classroom. Uh, in this session, we will go over some of the theory behind the core competencies, and we'll explore some activities that boost high order level of thinking. So that is what we aim to do during this first part of the session. Hold on just a second, please. I can't see where uh, I lost it. I don't know how to change my slide now because I cannot see the,
Okay,
the
the slide
arrows.
we are watching is in this session we will.
Yes, that's the one, but for a strange reason, I cannot see the arrows anymore.
Yeah, but
To
we can see the arrow.
you can, but I
Yes, we
can't.
can.
Okay, hold on. Ah, okay. Hold on a
Okay.
second. I don't know what happened, but
It
I'll.
always happens to the best speakers in the world. Remember, Paola.
Yeah, well, I was expecting some difficulties along the way, as usual. Okay, so this is the agenda. First, we're going to, as I mentioned before, go over some of the theory regarding core competencies. I'll show you the way I scaffold some of my lessons. Then I'll continue with some activities to boost high order thinking skills. So that's my plan for today. So let's start with the first one, which is the core competencies. So I'm going to show you a picture, and I'd like you to please tell me what you think this image referred to, please. How would you interpret it? Anybody in the session or maybe on Facebook who'd like to share? What do you think this image refers to?
Well,
Can you see the
it says
image?
reading, arithmetic, writing, collaboration, communication, creative
Mhm.
thinking, and critical thinking. What does the image says?
Uh-huh. Yes, please, if
So
there's
maybe
any.
they are the steps that take you to critical thinking.
Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing your opinion. Jaime, I don't know if there is
Yeah, Alma
somebody
Maria
else.
wrote
Mhm.
comparing skills we need as humans. And Rana Bilal from England, he wrote a superhuman.
Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for sharing. Well, you mentioned, different skills, and that's right. On the left side of this image, we can see the three R's, which are the basic skills that we are taught in schools: reading, arithmetic, and writing. And on the right hand, we have the so-called 21st century skills: collaboration, communication, creative thinking, and critical thinking. Now, these last so-called 21st century skills are the ones that are going to help our students thrive in this day and age because of all the technological advancements and all the things that have been happening during these last centuries. We need to help them develop these last skills. And that's why this topic that I like to share with you today is focused on that. I don't know why, but from time to time, the arrows disappear and then I cannot change the slide. I don't know
Okay,
what's going on with
don't
it.
worry. Take your time.
Sorry. Okay, so we've got the first one, which is critical thinking. If you could please share what you think critical thinking is, maybe you have a definition, a concept, an example that you'd like to share. If there is someone who'd like to say something, go ahead.
Well, does it have to do with analyzing, reflecting, and doing something about it? Maybe?
Thank you. Thank you, Jaime. Yes, definitely. All that you said is connected to what I'm gonna share in a moment, which is a definition by Matthew Lipman, who says that critical thinking is that responsible thinking that conduct us to good judgment. It is, it relies on analyzing, um, interpreting, comparing, evaluating, and finally come up with your own concept of what the world is or what certain topic is, right? And what I like about his definition is that he mentioned that it is also self-correcting. It means that sometimes we can, um, think that something is right, then we research and it's actually the opposite. And we are humans, we are here to learn and we can learn from our mistakes. So that's what he mentions in his definition. Now let's continue with creative thinking. I don't know if there is someone here who would like to share his or her definition regarding creative thinking, please.
Yeah, there are 14 people now in the audience, so if anybody wants to talk
Oh,
or say something, please feel free. What is creative thinking for you?
Probably creative thinking is when you or when the student produces something after that meditation or that all that time to think they have. I don't know.
thank you. Thank you, dear Alba. Yes, you're
Hi.
right. As you mentioned, is that way of thinking that leads to the generation of valuable and original ideas, and it's very connected to create critical thinking. So we can say that it's also the result of critical thinking, right? Once we have a good grasp of what whatever topic we're talking about is, then we start generating new ideas, and that is how we develop creative thinking. If there is anyone else who'd like to say something, feel free to raise your hand or maybe send a message.
I think
And yes,
I I mean in my thinking, the creative thinking could be looking at the same ideas, same problems, same issues, but coming up with some different and new solutions. Probably that could be a creative thinking. Thank
yeah,
you.
Thank you so much, dear Dr. Rana Bilal in England.
thank you.
Thank you, Jaime, my friend.
Yes, that's completely right. And
Well,
um,
I think, just looking at the image, it just inspires me to say, aha, I got a new idea. It's different, it's creative, and so there's a spark in enthusiasm.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Whenever we come up with something, we feel very excited, as you mentioned. Yes. Okay. Well, Now, could you help me please complete the headings for each one of these definitions? Here we have different definitions. And let's start with the first one. I'll read the definition and you please give me the word that represents this definition, okay? It says recall facts and basic concepts. And we have a list of verbs: define, duplicate, list, memorize, repeat, and state. Anybody who'd like to help here?
Memorize?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jaime.
Is that the answer?
We'll see in a moment, but it's
I
always
want
good
to get something, a prize, an award, something.
A clap.
yes,
A
maybe
clap, maybe.
next time.
Remember, probably.
Okay, let's see. Yes, thank you, Alba. Thank you so much. Let's continue with the second one, which says explain ideas or concepts, classify, describe, discuss, explain, identify, locate, recognize, report, select, and or translate. Which word do you think can be used to describe this definition? Or
Medalid answered in the chat that number 2 is understand, says Medalid.
Okay, let's see. Well, you hit the nail on the head with that one. Yes, that's correct. Thank you. Let's continue with the third one. Use information in new situations. Execute, implement, solve, use, demonstrate, interpret, operate, sketch, etc. Anyone for this definition? We are completing here the headings for each definition for the ones who just joined the session.
In the chat, Medalid already answered number 3, and she says it's apply.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, we are going over some information that you probably have heard of before or know, but it's always good to share, right? Draw connections among ideas, differentiate, organize, relate, compare. So we're in the fourth stage of this pyramid. Anybody? Okay, let's see here. Alba, maybe if you can help me.
Yes, in the chat, Flor and Medalid say it's analyze.
Okay, let's see here. From time to time, I hear. Thank you. I found where the arrows are. Okay, thank you, Alba, and also our dear attendee today. Number 5, justify a stand or decision. Argue, defend, judge, select. Anyone? Okay, nobody?
I guess we are afraid of making mistakes.
Oh, in the chat, Flor and Medalid wrote evaluate.
Thank you. Yes, you're right, dear colleagues. And finally, the last one, which is produce new or original work. This one is pretty easy because we talked about that a few minutes ago. What do you think, Jaime? What could it be? We've been talking about that.
Produce new or original work. Design, assemble, construct, conjecture, develop, formulate, author, investigate. Oh my
It
God.
starts with the letter C, and we
Construct.
no, one of your friends help us with the concept of it. Rana, I think, from India.
Yeah, from England. Dr. Rana Bilal.
From England. Okay.
The problem, I was taking a photo of yours.
Okay.
At the moment you were asking.
In the chat, some colleagues have already replied, create.
Create. Yes, that's right. Okay, well, thank you, Alba, for your help. And what we just completed is what we call the Bloom's taxonomy, which is a categorization of the cognitive stages. And it was obviously created by somebody whose last name is Bloom, right? Benjamin Bloom and his collaborators in 1956. And ever since this categorization was created, we've been using it for the teaching field to explain how students learn. Okay, so now let's continue. And the question here is, what's the relation between the 21st century skills and Bloom's taxonomy? What's your take on this? What do you think the relation might be between these two frameworks, or concepts, the 21st century skills and Bloom's taxonomy.
Anybody, please?
And don't be afraid, please.
Well, I am afraid, dear Paola.
Don't be.
Well, I
We
am.
either win or learn. We never lose. So yes, if we make a
I
mistake,
think
it's part of the learning process. Yes.
I think the relationship between 21st century skills and Bloom's taxonomy, I think it's the extension of its cognitive levels, I mean, from remember to create. And then we move on towards collaboration and communication. And then eventually we land on critical thinkings, which probably are real world applications. I mean, this is what I think. It could be a relationship between Bloom's taxonomy and 21st century skills.
Well, let me tell you that you are 100% right. That's definitely a good
Oh, thank you very much.
way.
I
Just a
told
word,
you, I
guys.
told you, Rana is the one.
Yeah, he's very clever.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. So we know that the 21st century skills are the real world competencies that it is what students need nowadays, right? And Bloom's taxonomy, just like Rana mentioned, shows us how our cognitive behavior is organized, the stages that we have to follow. And overall, we can say that these two connect well together because they help us organize our teaching process in the best way possible so that we can help our students go through all those stages and eventually get to develop critical and creative thinking, just like Rana mentioned, right? Arriving to that stage where we can say that we have developed those higher levels of the hierarchy of these skills. Okay, well, that was a review of the core competencies. Now let's continue with what I'd like to show you. It's an example of how I scaffold one of my lessons in my class, because if we want our students to achieve those levels of skills, we need to help them. We need to encourage them and guide them through the process, and that's what a scaffold means, is to provide those tools so that they can understand how things work, and eventually they'll get to do it everything by themselves without your help. But first you have to guide them, right? So you are going to be my students here, and I'd like you to please look at the picture and tell me, what can you see, please? What can you see? That's the question here. What can you see? If you can share, please.
Before somebody answers your question, just a reminder, dear Paola, 15 more minutes to go.
Oh, okay.
Don't
So I'll
worry,
be
don't worry. It's
very
just a reminder. Don't worry.
well, but it's good. It's good because
Okay, so
otherwise
your
I'll
question
forget.
is, what can you see?
Uh-huh.
Anybody, please? Well, Alba Maria says, two people listening to music with the moon as background.
Yes, thank you, Alba Maria. Okay, another question. Where are they? Where are they?
Somewhere
So
up in the
mhm,
mountain, maybe?
maybe, yes, maybe it could be maybe on the balcony, right? It
Yeah,
could be,
maybe
yes.
too.
And what are they listening to? What do you think?
Romantic music,
Probably, yeah.
because they are back to back.
Uh-huh, yes. So basically, it's good to use pictures so that you can get your students imagine what they are going to be discussing in a few minutes, right? It's like you are warming up. I have here 3 questions that are very simple, but I have here on the right a question that is bigger. That's the big question. And it says, what's the story behind this picture? You can ask them to create a story from this picture, right? That's the way I started this lesson. Then I continued with the acronym challenge. Hold on a second. So what I did is to give them different words related to music, for example, pop, and I divided them in groups. And they had to try to come up with words that start with those letters, but that are part of the of music, right? Of the music vocabulary. So for example, here we have piano, orchestra, playback, and then I gave them another word, which is rock, and then sorry, my butt. Give me just a moment, please. And then melody. So with this activity, what I wanted to do is to give my students a chance to brainstorm some vocabulary that they probably know from previous courses, and that's what we did. After that, we continued with the music emoji challenge. I'm not gonna do this because of the sake of time. Fortunately, time flies, and I have many other things that I'd like to share with you. But they had to listen to some, or they had to watch some emojis and guess what the song was, and that's what we did. So as you can see till here, we've been covering different vocabulary regarding music, and everything is about music here. So then we continued with random questions. If you could meet any musician from any era, who would it be and why? That was my first random question, and I just used a ball, and I turned around and I said pass, 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 pass. Then when I say stop, that person that has the ball has to answer my question. So everyone has to be ready to answer this question, right? So it gets everyone thinking about their responses. And then another random question, what's one song that always gets you in a good mood? And here I did the same again. And another activity that I also told them to work with is to create their ultimate playlist. Give me just a second, please. From time to time, the arrow disappears and I cannot change my slide. Hold on a second, please. Here it is. Okay. So they had to create their own playlist, both with modern and old school songs. They had to choose 3 songs from both eras, and they had to explain why they included those songs in their playlists. It was a great activity. They got to share those songs with us, and we used this PDF document so that they can put the info on the board. And then I also provide some examples of old school music so that they had an idea. And here, all the things that I did was for them to arrive to this stage, that is the critical thinking stage, where I ask, I share with them this phrase that says modern music is better than old music. And I asked them to either, go to the side of the agree side or the disagree side, and they had to support their opinions. So what I was aiming to do was to generate that moment where they had to analyze, reflect, compare, and evaluate, and come up with their responses, with their final responses. And the activity went well. Everyone enjoyed all of the previous activities that I had, but the most rewarding part was this one, when they got to share their opinions about this statement that modern music is better than old music. That's the way I scaffold my classes, when my intention is having my students to develop that critical thinking, because it's there, but we need to help them boost that skill. And that's what I did that class. Okay, now I'm going to share with you some activities that you can include in your classes. The first one is called Bingo Matchup. This one is, you can use it as a warm-up activity, or an icebreaker if you want to. And it is an activity that develop critical thinking and inference skills. So you might, when you hear the word bingo, we tend to think that is the traditional bingo that we play, but this one is kind of different. Okay, so what you do is you create bingo cards with pieces of information, and participants need to come up with questions directly connected to the pieces of information in the bingo cards. So here you can see a picture with my students, and I have here an example of what this bingo looks like. So this is the first time we are meeting, so I'd like you to know more about me. So what I'd like you to do is to please scan this QR code, or if you can't, I'll send the link for the hold on a second, for the bingo card. And this is what you're going to see if you scan the QR code. You're going to see the bingo card like this, and in each grid, you will see a piece of information that is related to me. What you have to do is, while you are playing the bingo, you have to share what the question of these answers can be, okay? When I play with my students, I do it it's a two-step process. First, they have to come up with the questions, and then we play the bingo. But since we don't have that much time, I just ask you to say what the question is as we play the game, okay? If you have three questions in a row, three answers in a row, sorry, vertically, horizontally, or it could be diagonally, you have to say bingo, okay? For the sake of time, we're going to play this bingo like this. The first person that has three rows vertically, horizontally, or diagonally says bingo, and that person wins, okay? And if you need the link, I have it here. But if you don't need it, we can start working. Is there anyone who needs the link for the bingo card? Nobody?
No, but just 4 more minutes, dear Paola, not to scare you,
See,
not to
time
frighten you.
flies. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, well, maybe we'll have to leave this for another moment, but it would be great if you try to guess the questions at least. Anybody?
7 a.m. is the time you go to work?
Yes, you're right.
You
Yes.
wake up.
But you have to ask the question.
Okay.
Yes, what time do you
go? What time do you go to work? Or
7 a.m.
okay.
Yes, that's correct. Alba?
What's your favorite song?
My favorite song is Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears. Thank you, Alba. Okay.
And have you been to Paris?
Yes, I have. Good.
Hmm.
Thank you. Anybody else? Nope. Okay, so that's the way you play this game. There are no wrong questions because all questions will give you information about the person that you are interacting with. However, there is a question that matches the answer perfectly, okay? So that's the way this bingo works. And we'll continue with another activity for the sake of time, okay? This one is called Thinking Web. So this activity is also one that you can use to encourage critical thinking and collaboration. And it's better if you use it as a follow-up activity when you know you've finished the lesson and you'd like to check your students' understanding. And basically what you have to do is you have to distribute copies of selected vocabulary and pair your students, or they can work in pairs or in groups, but I tend to ask them to work in pairs. And then you allow some minutes for your students to organize their thoughts. Students share their list with the class and they explain the reasoning behind their classification. So imagine that I give you these pictures, okay? And what you have to do is you have to classify these pictures in two groups and you have to explain why you classify them in that way, okay? So for example, this person put robot, book, and cell phone together because all of those tools provide information. And this person also put bike, sneakers, and earbuds in another group because they can be used when you are exercising, right? That's probably the first thing that students might say, some of them, but you have to motivate them to think outside of the box. They can also group things in other ways. So uh, tell them that they have to try to organize or classify this in other ways than the common way to classify this vocabulary, okay? For example, I gave my students these pictures and some of them told me, teacher, the cat, the sheep, and the goat are together because all of them are small, for example. And they told me, teacher, the lion, the dog, the fox are in a group because they all of them they have teeth, sharp teeth, for example, right? So that's a way to start thinking outside of the box. You can tell your students that they are going to be praised, or you're going to give I don't know, a gift or something if they give you those type of classification that are outside of the box. You have to teach them how to think outside of the box too. So that's the way this exercise works. And the benefit is that you have multiple answers, and students are not afraid of making mistakes. There are no wrong grouping or wrong classification. They get to analyze, to perceive patterns, to engage in problem solving, and in cooperation and negotiation because they are working in pairs. And then we have another good activity that is creative spins. This one also encourages critical thinking. And basically what you have to do is group them in groups of 3 generally. And you divide the class in groups, as I mentioned, and select different objects, ordinary objects. And you ask them to generate ideas regarding alternate uses of those objects, not the common use. So that's what they have to do, and they have to present their findings in front of the class. You can do also like a Shark Tank event where they have a common object, but they have to sell it to you by using creative ideas on to use this tool, right? For example, here we have a fork. So the student can say, well, we can use the fork to comb our hair, to detangle our hair. They can say, for example, this fork can be used as a jewelry holder to hang lightweight items like a necklace, for example, or a ring, like a back scratcher, and they demonstrate that, and it's a lot of fun. Or like a painting tool, like a brush, right? So you provide the tools, and they have to generate ideas, but they don't have to share the common use of them, but think outside of the box. They have to be creative. Okay, and finally, the last activity, which is called blackout poetry. And this one is also good to enhance the creative thinking skill. What you have to do is to select a text. For example, here I have a poem, and you have to explain, obviously, to your students what blackout poetry is. It's like creating a new poem by using a text, okay? It could be, I don't know, maybe a piece of an article from the news, or maybe another poem, okay? And then you have to divide your students in groups and to ask them to create their poem from that piece of text that you are providing. For example, here we have an example. This person selected certain words from the text, and he or she created his or her poem. It says here, he felt comfortable as he floated to the sudden tide of the room. That's an example. Then another one. I was still for some reason linked with her eyes. See, they are creating poems out of ordinary texts. And here we have another one. There was nothing else, the little island, in the right direction, but on the shore, hand in hand, if it suits you, we will anchor. So here I have my text, and what I did is to create my own poem. I see my darling, take me with you, why you left me alone. That's my short poem, okay? To get to this level of creativity, we have to practice creating our blackout poetry with students, and they will eventually get to come up with things like this one that we can see on the screen. And I'd like to finish by saying that education is not the learning of facts, but training the mind to think, sorry. And well, that's pretty much it. Here I have my references if you'd like to share some of the resources that I visit. And thank you for your attention, everybody. I try to do it
Thank you, dear
fast as
Paola.
possible.
Thank you for showing us different activities we can use in our classrooms to develop our students' critical thinking. At the end of the three presentations, people here will have the chance of asking you or commenting something about your presentation. Thank you so much,
Of course.
dear
No
Paola.
problem. Thank you.
Okay, now let's go to, it's your turn, dear Isela Coronado. You have 30 minutes to present, the most 40. Okay, and you may start, dear Isela. And thank you everyone for being here. We have 21 people here and many people connected in Facebook Live.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good
Hello
morning,
from
dear Isela.
Hello from Santa Cruz de la Sierra. You know, the nickname of Santa Cruz is Santa Pue. And we people always call us cambitas.
And that's why.
Okay, so hello, dear international colleague. I'm so happy to share one of the experience I have in my class. And I think we have the same problem with Paulita. We cannot move the screen.
Well,
I
take
don't know
your
what's
time.
how
There
to
is no hurry.
no.
Okay.
Okay. So these presentations was inspired by the book Teaching That Transforms, and which are principles for teaching success, and also to put into practice with my fifth grade class. And the name is Unlocking Potential Through Multiple Intelligences in the English Classroom. Nowadays, as a teachers, we know that we have a diversity in the class. And students struggle to the learning English. It could be maybe because of the learning disability. It could be also the cognitive development, and individual attitude can also play a role. My objectives: reflect teachers' teachings and students' learning, understand Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, recognize diverse learning styles in the students, design English applied lessons that engage various intelligences, and promote inclusive and personalized learning environments. My questions: do we know our students inside the classroom? I include myself. That's why I say our students inside the classroom. Do we know how they learn? Of course, as a teacher, we know our student. We know that everyone has the capacity or ability to learn, and it depends on how teachings and learning are conducted. Everyone will want to learn. Is it right or not? But most of the time, we have, I can say, three kinds of students. Now, the professional student, tourist student, real students. Professional student because they are forced to go and have no other choice. Tourist students because they are physically in your class, but mentally they are not there. Yes? And real student because they want to learn. They are great students. Even so, teacher must catch the student attentions, present the lesson in an interesting way, lead students into reflective situation based on the topic, and communicate with them to impact our teaching on their life. That is the purpose. So I'm absolutely sure that it will be a deep and true teachings. And of course, it will demonstrate successful teaching because it will help our students testify about their learning. So imagine, they will say, oh, that was my great teachers. I could learn. Because most of them say, I can understand, I don't like the language. That's why I say they can testify about their learning. And we had to understand that our students are all different. We had a diversity in different aspects. And to get this result that I mentioned before, we must understand that our students are all different. As educator, we have the diversity and richness of the classroom. As a teacher, it helped us to understand that we can have different educational strategies and methodologies that are more appropriate for each student, because now we are in our student centers, not anymore teacher centers. Think about this. It is not how smart the students are. It is how they are smart. Here in this image, there are it is a kind of research, how our students can learn. That's why Garners in this book show us the multiple intelligence, 8 multiple intelligence that we can work with our students. Have you heard about that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, most of us, long time ago. But what's happening now?
What happens?
Because we don't work with that.
Yes.
That is my case. I learned, but I never put in practice in my class. But now it's totally different, because in this book, Garner proposed that intelligence is not a single entity, but rather consists of multiple distinct and independent intelligence. So we have a lot of difference. So I want to, please, I want you to show, to watch this video. It's a short video.
Okay.
So, when you think of intelligence, you normally think of the one intelligence that most people refer to, and that is intellectual intelligence. And Howard Gardner says there are actually multiple types of intelligence, and I'm going to go through them with this video. Now, the first is called logical mathematical intelligence, and this is basically what you think of when you think of intellectual intelligence. This would be stuff like logic, or if you're good at taking tests, you'll probably have pretty high logical mathematical intelligence. This also has to do a lot with critical thinking and making and reading graphs, as well as organization. If you like to organize your stuff and keep it very organized and are good at organizing it, then you probably have very high logical mathematical intelligence. Now, the second one is called verbal linguistic. And if you have high verbal linguistic intelligence, you are probably good at saying that word. You are good at poems, you are good at rhyming words, finding words that rhyme, you are good at reading and writing, and you're good at learning other languages. You learn them pretty quickly compared to other people. And you're probably great at turning a little tiny story into a huge, fascinating story that can enthrall an entire room. The third is interpersonal. And interpersonal intelligence would be like understanding other people's emotions, understanding what the social etiquette and norms are of this situation. You have to be able to be good at reception to other people's moods and what motivates them. If you are a business administrator and you're good at motivating someone, you probably have pretty high interpersonal intelligence. If you're a good leader or just a manager in general, and you can coordinate work with other people, you are probably really intelligent in this interpersonal field. The fourth is body kinesthetic, which means you are good at handling and maneuvering your own body. You can handle objects skillfully and basically move them around however you want them to, as well as your body. People that are very intelligent in the body kinesthetic field are dancers, actors, soldiers, and even many sports athletes. The fifth is musical intelligence, and this is associated with rhythmic and harmonic music. Being able to interpret sounds, rhythms and tones and pitches, and being able to understand them on a level that most people can't understand. If you're good at this, you can probably compose or at least play an instrument. The next is visual spatial, and this is like basically how well can you visualize something in your mind's eye? How well can you think of something in your mind? And another example of this would be how well can you get through a maze? Can you see in your mind's eye where you're at in the maze or a cornfield? And Gardner went so far as to say that this could even be used as to judging distances, or how well can you read a map? And the next type of intelligence is called intrapersonal intelligence, and this is different from interpersonal intelligence. Intrapersonal intelligence is more about how you understand yourself. Are you self-aware? Do you know what feelings you are feeling, what emotions go through your mind when you are in certain situations? How well can you control your thoughts and actions and feelings in general? Do you know your strengths and weaknesses? And the last, which came out a couple years after Howard Gardner came out with his multiple intelligences theory, is called natural intelligence, naturalistic intelligence. And this has to do with being able to recognize stuff in the real world. Basically, flowers and trees and anything that's living. Hunters and fishermen are pretty intelligent in the naturalistic field. So are chefs and botanists that can grow plants. And basically anyone that is learned in any biological science is pretty intelligent in the naturalistic field. Anyways, my next video is going to be on how you can improve these, how you can become a better person through improving each one of these single intelligences to become a better human being, a smarter, a more intelligent being. I hope you learned something from this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, subscribe because I'll be putting out more videos like this soon. Thanks for watching.
So when I start learning by doing this, I love it. And here we had the student potential based on multiple intelligence. So we had a linguistic, logical, mathematical, visual, spatial, body kinesthetic, musical, interpersonal, intrapersonal, and naturalistic. So a multiple intelligence that we can work inside the classroom with our students. And here is an example, the demonstration, the bringing theory into practice. For example, teach a short lesson incorporating various intelligences. Here's a sample idea. For example, the topic describing emotions in English. The target intelligences, linguistic, visual, spatial, musical, interpersonal, could be 3, 4, or could be the A multiple intelligence, or one student can have more than 2 or 3 intelligence multiples. And you can start with a song about emotions, then you have the musical, introduce emotion vocabulary with emoji flashcard. This is visual spatial. The student work in pairs to act out emotions. This is the part that they really love to do, act. And that is the badly kinesthetic, interpersonal, and the journal about time they left one emotion, the intrapersonal, Greek group poster representing each emotion with drawings and phrases. So when I select students to do something in my class, they are good at drawing, they are good at acting, there are a lot of talent and skill that our students have inside the classroom. And that is the activity that I have. That is my students' demo class. Why? Because now I put my student in that situations. They did this activity. That was the Daniel Healthy Challenge. It was a focus on one of the topics that they have in their English textbook, My Time 5. And the objective was understand the story of Daniel and his friend in Babylon, reflect on the decisions and explore the value of healthy eating through the A multiple intelligence. Always when we had to teach a topic, we had to contextualize. And this is the best part, that you can have the value of your student. They can understand not only just to learn the language, but also they can have a real meaning what they're learning. So the suggested material, we had a children's Bible, or could be a story summary, a paper, pencil, crayon, simple musical instrument, maracas, drums, salad ingredients, if possible, comic book cards, reflection notebook. That is for the activity. So we have the 3 columns, the intelligence, the activity, and description. That was a real activity that my student worked at last week in my class. So we had 2 students with the linguistic that they create storytelling. There are 2 students were creating the story. The children would write Daniel's story as if they were journalists covering the event in Babylon. They could title it, they changed the topic, Daniel defines the kings. I found only one student with a logical mathematical So he was comparing the king's menu, the healthy and unhealthy food, and also the amount of the food. He was giving some specific information about why the healthy food is nice, and also the calories and so on.
I like that.
Then we had the visual spatial. We have like a 5 student. They were drawing. 5 students, they were really good at drawings. They, for example, one draw the palace of the king, the other one the 3 friends of Daniel, and the other one the table with a lot of food with pork. But we consider that pork is unhealthy food. That is what we consider. And lot of fat food. The other student drew Daniel. He was worried, thinking about the unhealthy food. And the musical, there were more than 5 students in the musical. And for the class, for preparing this activity, they had the maracas, the guitar, the flute. A lot of students want to do this activity. So as I said before, it's not only 1 or 2. They can have more than 2 in multiple intelligence, and they can work in the class. So they create a song, a rap song about Daniel's food, about the story, and also they was having fun with the song. They was just improving. Then we have the badly kinesthetic. That was a role play. So there were another student that were acting. They were just talking about making dialogue to act the story as a short play. Some children can be Daniel, his friend, the king, and the servant. So those that were writing the story, just read the story, but those students were acting, and they were dialoguing between them. Interpersonal, there was only 2 students that was discussing why you have to eat healthy food and why you don't have to eat. So they were discussing, oh, I love the unhealthy food I want to eat. And the other one, no, that is not good. We have to eat healthy food. What was the discussion? There were 3 students. And it was really amazing to see how they were discussing. These students, they had the intermediate level of English. I'm really surprised. They have 5th year. So that is really amazing to see how they can improve the English. They had a lot of vocabulary, and they can put in context of the experience that they are living in the story. And the other 2 was just they write in the journal. There was only 3 students. Healthy decision I can make as a Daniel. Yeah, they have to think about their own decisions, not about Daniel. So what do you decide to eat? For example, Isela wants to eat healthy food. Or maybe Paola decides to eat unhealthy food because she loves hamburger, she loves pizza, she loves spaghetti. So that is your own decisions. And the last one, there were only 2 students that they have plants, and also explaining about the oranges, about the carrots. All has to be with the natures. And that was for me an experiment. I never so that was that I had to find a lot of multiple intelligence in my class, the 8 intelligence. That was really amazing, my experience. Now, as I conclude, okay, the story, the Daniel Healthy Party, what's going on then? The students have with the comics, they start singing with the instruments and also enjoying the food, because at the same time they plant lettuce, tomato, carrot, boiled potatoes, and they prepare as a vegetable salad. That was amazing, though. At the end of the activity, we can enjoy a delicious food. That's why it was a party for us. Well, now it's your turn. Now you have to do that. Maybe on the chat you can write just so quickly Teach a short lesson incorporating various intelligence. What is your experience in your classroom? Could you tell me just a little bit in a one paragraph, maybe on the chat?
So please, we are 23 people here. If anybody wants to tell a little bit about his or her experience developing an activity to encourage students to develop their multiple intelligences, anybody wants to share? What I usually, for example, meanwhile somebody explains, I develop the students' musical skills. They love singing. I have them stand up in groups. First the boys, first the ladies, then students who wear glasses, then students who are wearing blue clothes and things like that. And they love doing that. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, always is recommended that you have to start with a song, because everybody loves songs.
Yes, everybody loves music. Yeah, Alba.
Yeah.
I think it's also a great idea if we try to assign roles to the students, like if we work in groups, and then if someone loves writing or is very visual, then if you're working in groups, then choose somebody that is going to write something, other person has to speak about it, share the material. I don't know, that could help students to give them the chance to decide what they do, and they will then produce something according to their abilities or their intelligence.
Paola, please.
Well, I really liked the way you gave them options with regards to the story of Danny, I think. What was the name of the character?
Daniel and his friends.
Yes, Daniel.
The story
Yes.
from the Old Testament.
Yes, yes, beautifully put. I mean, it's great to give students options. They that way, they don't feel like forced to do things. They choose what they want to do, but they are doing what you were planning to, but they are just choosing what. So great, good job.
Rana, please.
Thank you. I think in my scenario, we try to use some real-time scenarios which is happening around us that time. And
Okay.
at least I encourage my student to go out of the class a little bit and try to see what's happening in the real time.
Yeah.
What's happening in that room, what's happening in the cafe, and that kind of thing, or what's happening at the reception of the university. So in a group, they just see what's happening in there, and then they come and write or tell me in their own narration. I mean, as they feel it. It's not about as they see it. It's how about they feel it, that kind of thing. So
I
that really
love
helps
that.
them to. Sorry, Hamid?
No, I love that activity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, this is what we have to do, Rana. But sometimes in our case, for example, at the school, we are closed. We cannot go out. So we have to try. Even we don't have gardens. So that's why I ask the student, bring plants, bring what you have. And they love to bring many things. For example, when we had to the shopping, they bring clothes, and we had to have a different store that and they can improvise also the student. I never asked for credit card. Yes, only I told you, please bring money to buy your clothes. But when I went to the store, and that was incredible. She asked me, do you want to pay by cash or credit card? I never, that is amazing, Rana. That is what we had
It
to do
is.
about the nature. Now
I think we can talk about resources because, to be honest, I mean, sometime I even used this pen to talk with my students, and I said, "Look, tell me how do you feel? I mean, don't tell me how does it look. Tell me how do you feel about it. I mean, that kind of thing." So I think when we encourage them to think a bit more deeply, which involve their associations and feelings, I mean, that give them a chance to explain things. How do I feel about this pen is totally different. How I may think about this pen or how I may feel about this pen, what I mean? And there are lots of associations with that. Yeah. So we can use into limited resources, and we can use into an extravagant resources as well. Thank you.
Thank
wow,
you.
that's amazing. This activity ensures that every student gets a moment to shine based on their strength. Is what we had to do. Okay, so I'm going to continue. So, every time your student hands note from a song, you should know that you are dealing with someone with musical ability. Now you have to participate, please, on the chat. Go for the second one. Every time your student demonstrate bodily ability, you should know that they are dealing with a person. What? Now I'm taking a test for you. So how you can notice what multiple intelligence your student has, okay? I did the first one. I want to repeat. Every time your student have notes from a song, you should know that you are dealing with someone with musical ability. Am I right? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
So the second one and the rest is for you, are for you. Every time your student demonstrate bodily ability, they move too much, no? You should know that you are dealing with a person with, you can write on the chat. Cannot see? Okay, let me check. Please, Jaime, help me with the chat.
Yeah, I'm following, but no one has written anything yet. Yeah, kinesthetic.
Yeah, okay. Every time your student recite with emotions or say a memorized phrase, you should know that you are dealing with a person with. Waiting for your answer.
Me too.
I'm going to read. You didn't take note, I think.
People are afraid of making mistakes, I guess.
Come on. It's what I am. Linguistic ability.
Interpersonal, they ask.
No, linguistic ability, memorize. They had always. Okay, so every time for another one, your student explain the reason for things. You should know that you are dealing with a person with. This is really simple.
Say that again.
Okay, every time your students explain the reason for things, you should know that you are dealing with a person with. It has to be with numbers.
Mathematical?
Yes, excellent, Paola. Thank you. Logical, mathematical. Another one. Every time your student shares his or her dreams and plans, you should know that you are dealing with a person with. You had to cross what I already said. So, what are the other ones? Intra?
Someone put interpersonal.
Yeah, it's intrapersonal capacity. Okay, so every time, we have two more. Every time your student feels comfortable speaking in the group, you should know that you are dealing with a person with. It's what I am too. I love talking.
Do you?
Yes, Jaime.
Just checking.
You know me.
I know you.
So what is the answer, Jaime? Could you help me?
Give me the choices.
So that is what someone said before. Interpersonal?
Interpersonal?
Yes. Okay, another one. Every time your student draws skillfully, you should know that you are dealing with a person with. Is what I don't have. What is the answer? Paola, you can read also the chat if you can, please.
Yeah.
No one
No
has
answer?
written any. No, there is no answer.
Yeah, I have.
Visual.
Love.
Spatial? Visual spatial.
Spatial. Okay. Very good. Special ability. And the last one. Every time your student talk about different type of animals, tree, or flowers, you should know that you are dealing with a person with. That is simple. That is easy. It was Rana talking about that you had to go outside with the nature. What is the answer?
Kinesthetic.
With the nature.
Naturalistic.
Yes, Marcos, thank you so much for your answer. Okay, so every child is gifted. We have to know that. They just unwrap their packages at different times. So that means that we had to avoid comparisons. Not everyone learns at the same pace. Sometimes we are so strict. We want our students learn fast. So we had to understand that not everyone learns at the same pace, and that's okay. Promote patience and trust. Give them time and space to flourish. Recognize hiding potentials. Sometimes the brightest things take time to reveal themselves. I don't know if you had that experience in your class. Maybe at the beginning you can see that maybe the student, they don't want to learn, but at the end they are really good. That's why I say no. Things take time to reveal themselves. And I want someone to read this, please. This is the author paraphrase of Corinthians that is in the book of the Bible, the 1 Corinthians 13. I want a volunteer to read this because this is amazing. I really enjoy reading, and as I mentioned before, this book. A volunteer to read this, please. This is a poem that we have to understand as educators. Maybe Alba can help us to read. Please?
Okay, the whole slide?
Please, that would be faster.
All right. If I paraphrase of Corinthians, if I speak the language of my students but do not have love, I would be like a chatterbox. And even if I had the gift of teaching and perfectly knew the textbook and all the libraries and mastered all the theories, didactics, and methodologies, and even if I were capable of speaking deeply about powerful topics and I did not have love, nothing would be. Love is patient with the students who are slow. Love is kind to those who are critical. Love is not envious of colleagues from institutions with more resources. Love is not proud of word of praise at the end of a class. Love is not proud of good ideas shared. Now, therefore, there remains the faith that God works in my life and the lives of my students. The hope that my students will grow into successful professionals and mature Christians. However, the greatest of them is the love I feel for my students.
Thank you, Alba. Thanks for participating. Let's teach with intelligence and heart. That is my message for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear Isela, for giving us some time to think and analyze our intelligence. We all have a different intelligence, and we can, I guess, develop the other one. So thank you, everyone, for being present here. Roxy, Raj, Ruth, Rana, Hector, Medalit, Julio, Velázquez, Karen, Luis Arroyo, Carlos Cardosa, Marco, Lilian Santiago, Tecno, Alejandra, María, Flor, and Fatima, and all the people who are following us in Facebook Live. And now it's time for Alba Maria, and then we will have time to make some questions and comments about these two and then three presentations. Go on, dear Alba.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have 30 minutes, right?
Right. But you can extend a few more minutes if you need.
Let's see. All right. So the topic I'm going to talk about is social emotional learning applied by Alba Maria Cruz Garcia. That's me. And so first of all, if you could try to write in the chat. Oh, can you see? Yes. Yes, you can see my slide. So first of all, can you try to probably in the chat while I continue speaking, define what a human being is? Anything that comes to your mind, write in the chat, what do you think a human being is before we start with the topic? And while you are writing this, because I'm sure not everybody is going to write something, but some of you, what you think a human being is, a definition. This topic that I chose to talk about today is not brand new in these sessions that Jaime is having every month. It's very interesting that a couple of months ago already, a Mexican English teacher talked about it. And I was not live on that session, but I saw that video in YouTube because Jaime always uploads all the videos to YouTube. And when I saw this presentation, I loved it. This colleague, Marisol Guzman.
Yeah, from Mexico.
Yes, she studied. She did some special course on social emotional learning. I think I've seen the video like 3 times already. And she explains in a very detailed way what social emotional learning is. And I encourage you to go to that presentation and to probably review these ideas of what social emotional learning is. And in that video, I was listening to also some comments. I cannot remember who made a comment on how complex it is to work with human beings. And those words got me reflecting, like the connection it has with us as English teachers, because that also reminded me of something that one of my professors would say in a university. We're not working with furniture, we are working with human beings, with minds. So after listening to this presentation, I decided to do my extra research, to do my reflection, let's say, what I can get from this presentation, the comments that other teachers made. And so, so what is a human being? Somebody wrote dynamic, the most extraordinary creation in the world, with a soul, heart, and brain that make it the best of all. Wow, Roxana, I love your definition. That is something I was thinking also, what a human being is. A person, somebody says in Facebook, a human being is a person, concrete. It is the most complex yet wonderful being, says Freddy Garita. Sounds like poetry, if you ask me. And we are God's creation, full of abilities and emotions. Wow. So after this session, I obviously heard about social emotional learning before, but after this special session, and because of that comment that somebody made, I also tried to do my research. And first thing I did was to Google in the search engine. I wrote definition of a human being, and I was looking for more complex answers, but sadly, Google just showed me this very straight technical definition that I didn't feel this is what I was expecting, because it was very technical. But I highlighted, as you can see, something that I think applies, the superior mental development. In a way, we are superior. I'm going to use quotation marks. I don't want to feel that superior to other beings, animals, plants, etc. But I also like the idea of development. So it's true we have the capacity or the ability to, in a way, become superior to other species, but it's something that it's not that innate, let's say. We need to develop this. We need to work on developing this, quotation marks, superiority, let's say, mental superiority. So I was a bit disappointed with this first definition, but at least it got me thinking. So I decided to change the phrase, and I decided to ask Google, what is a human being made of? Wrong question, because again, they gave me lots of scientific definitions. I was overwhelmed because I didn't know that some scientists even weigh the amount of minerals and other elements we have in our body. Very complex, not my field of study, but very interesting to see how even in a physical way, human beings are so complex. We could read hours and hours, spend hours and hours just trying to understand what are we talking only about flesh or bones. So I changed my question and tried to, to something deeper. And my question was, what makes us humans? That was the right question to ask. And that's why probably you realized in the invitation we made, because we had a conversation with Isela and Paola before organizing these 3 presentations, we wanted to see how we could link our 3 topics if we were going to link our ideas. And after reading lots of information and on articles, different people, institutions that have published papers on what makes us humans, we realized that this is what we wanted. I'm going to highlight, for example, this from this article from 2 years ago, almost 3, by Robert Brooks. I will highlight the words experiences. This is a human being, consciousness, empathy, creativity, shaping our relationships. And some other authors have similar words. Oops, sorry. So some other authors have similar words, like Brentwood School also talks about the same words, empathy, creativity, resilience. And at the end, he even talks about our musical, communicative, social, sophisticated, cultural, conceptually thinking, and competitive characteristics that makes us different from other human beings. So Isela, Paola, and I decided, yeah, we, in a way, are going to touch some of these characteristics that define us or make us humans. And that's why we decided we are going to talk about different aspects. It's impossible in just one session to cover the whole thing, but imagine this is like a buffet and we are just serving ourselves some portions. And after this, we want to invite everyone to reflect on the things that you've heard, do your own research, and inspire yourself to make probably changes or improve things in your way of and your teaching practice, let's say. So this is how we ended up here, social and emotional learning. And let's start with the topic, let's say. Before Medalit wrote something very nice. Humans are viewed as embodied souls with a physical body and a spiritual essence, responsible for living ethically and fulfilling of commandments. Wow, I love it. You know, it's becoming deeper and deeper, and the topic is like that if we talk about this. So we have a subject here, a person, a human being. It could be any of us, and this person wants to apply for a job or for a scholarship. You want to start a new thing in your life, and in the past, according to the internet, a person would be given and would be examined, or even now, if there are lots of candidates, then you are given, you're under scrutiny. Before you get a position, if you get your scholarship, you compete with other people, and somehow you need to, be outstanding, excel over the others. And then you will be given the position you want or the scholarship you are aiming for. So in the past, and I read that on the internet, people would normally be analyzed and rated by their IQ test. This is not new. Like I haven't been given an IQ test, I think, but in some other places, that's what they focus on. And according to your results, the performance you will have in an IQ test, internet says you will be offered a certain position, or even you will be offered a specific amount of money, fair or unfair. But that used to be the practice in the past. So the decision would depend on, how well you perform in this test. And your IQ, which is basically your intellectual quotient. Lately, however, there have been some extra research, and a human being is not just intelligence. We already mentioned we are so complex. And so there is a lot of new research. This is from, for example, May 2025 on the internet. There is this online counseling that it's not talking only IQ. Look at the title, the role of IQ, EQ, SQ, and AQ for personal and professional success. To be honest, I didn't know the meaning of all of them a couple of years ago. I only thought IQ existed. But somehow, now there are deeper and deeper things, more interesting ways to analyze a human being. And we're talking about, look, this article even dares to link these characteristics with our own personal success and our professional success. How is this possible? Well, we are not going to read the whole article, but I'm going to highlight what it says there in this paragraph. IQ, EQ, SQ, and AQ together create a strong foundation for personal growth and professional achievement. And it says in online counseling, this is an advert for this website, and psychology, understanding and developing these quotients help individuals lead happier, more balanced, and successful lives. And remember, we're talking also about your personal success and professional success, they say. So if we know what IQ is, it stands for intelligence quotient. What about EQ? Emotional quotient. And there are articles, also very recent ones, that talk about this and why this is very important, or more important than ever before. We're not going to read the complete articles, but here, for example, it talks about your emotions when you talk about EQ, how to tune in into yourself and other people. So it's not only about your feelings, but also understanding other people's feelings. Also, the relationships you have, if you are able to manage the stress and handling your emotions. What about your communication and social skills? Or balancing your behaviors, thoughts, and emotions. Very interesting. And it also already has some words related to the SQ, because SQ is social quotient. Again, more articles published recently, last year, July 2024, a detailed explanation of what is social quotient and why is it important. And for example, in the definition, it says, I'm going to highlight what it says, ability to read social cues, how when we interact with other people. It says, we use this in everyday communication to listen to and understand others. And at the end of this article, something very interesting that caught my attention was that it says, the higher your social quotient, the easier it is for you to engage and connect with other people. And so you are building healthy relationships too. I'm not going to explain what AQ is. That's homework for you. Do some research later. But this is basically what we're talking about. So if you want to apply for a job, if you want to have success in your personal and professional life, what all this information is telling us, it's not about your intelligence only, the knowledge you have, if you have developed your mental abilities, that superiority that the definition from a dictionary was talking about, but it's also checking how you are relating to other people, if you can create healthy relationships, as you see in the picture. And probably in these days is that we have labeled this like social emotional learning. But let me tell you, this has been with us all the time. And in my personal experience, in 2019 probably, I remember I was in an interview for a scholarship. And obviously the person from the embassy didn't ask, okay, now we're going to evaluate your social emotional skills. Now, they directly ask, have you ever had an experience living with a roommate, working with somebody strange, like living with a stranger? And luckily, I had experience before, and so I could tell, yes, how did you handle problems, things like that. So in that question, now I understand they were trying to analyze if I had developed my emotional social skills. And so it didn't have a label. Probably it sounded strange or different. Why do they ask this question to me? But anyways, I answered. But it is important. It is important in our personal and professional life. And so that's when, if we want to develop these intelligences, that's when SEL shows up, the social emotional learning. There is a website that even Marisol, the Mexican teacher, shared in the presentation from February. Complete website where you can learn about it, watch videos, understand how this works. Basically, it says here that SEL is an integral part of education and human development. I love how it is connected with education, because most of the people that are here in this session are educators. We are educators. Regardless, we are teaching English or any other subject in English, but we are educating people, human beings. And it says here, SEL, social emotional learning, is a process which, I like this one too, young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions, achieve personal and collective goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain supportive relationships, and make responsible and caring decisions. So somehow we are English teachers, but now we are working like psychologists, like parents. We are, again, going back to that saying from my professor at university. We're not working with furniture. We're working with human beings, complex minds. So how can I apply SEL in my context? From all the people that are connected right now, I imagine all of us have different situations. Some of us are working independently, giving one-to-one classes. Some of us might be working at school, at a university, at a public, at a private language center, different roles. Some of us might even have some administrative roles. We are absent from the classrooms. But how can I take this and, kind of flavor my life with this, right? Oh, somebody is saying in the chat, abilities and emotions are very important. We can see when students talk about their feelings in a cloudy day or in a sunny day in a farm in the streets with their best friends, their grandma or pets. Yes, I like it if you make comments like this, even if I'm not making any questions, but if you feel you want to express and agree with something, you feel strong about something, feel free to write, because we are going to read it and obviously share and get excited about this topic the way I am. So now I'm going to share my experience, how I try to apply, how I try to help, and also I was helped by other teachers in this topic. So, Aya, have you ever been to a fancy restaurant where the waiter serves you the food and the drinks and everything? Probably it's not something you do every day. I don't, but it feels special, and it makes your life easier, let's say, if you have somebody, even almost cutting the meat for you and put it in your mouth. My mom normally makes that joke. They almost chew the food for you. It's incredible the treatment you receive in some fancy, nice restaurants, even here in Santa Cruz, Bolivia. But it's not always like that. And if we talk about our situations in our countries, we don't have it easy all the time. When we are working in an institution, X institution, we might have a course book. We might not have a course book. We need to not only probably teach something, but we need to comply also with the authorities. How are we going to, have a balance and add this social emotional learning aspect in our context? So in 2023, I had a chance to work a lot as as an English language coach for a private company in Bolivia, and this was the perfect chance for me to enrich myself working with different teachers around the country. So it was not only about me teaching them something, but I want to feel it was me and them interacting and, you know, having this exchange of knowledge and expertise. The same way today, Isela and Paola have shared their activities, their ideas with us that we want to probably now use in our classes to do this and that. So I had a chance to also work with different teachers as a coach in different parts of Bolivia. This is a picture from Tarija where Paola is. Probably Paola recognizes some of the teachers there. They are university teachers. They work in a public extension course to teach English to university students and adults and also children. And so they were looking for a course book. I'm telling you, this is not advert for a publishing company. I'm going to show you different books, don't worry. But sometimes you get to work with a book or with a course book that has it easy, like a fancy restaurant. And this is the first time that I officially run into social emotional learning concept with this specific course book. So there was this course book for children, and where the idea was to, you know, teach students greetings and introduce yourself with my name is, what's your name, things like that. And the idea was to teach singular, plural, and plural classroom objects. So normally you imagine a picture with, you know, classroom objects, I don't know, pencil with the word there. And if there is a conversation, I would normally think of, you know, read the conversation and repeat, and then role play. But this very interesting book, this is from a book called Odyssey by Richmond for children, has this first page in Unit 1, where it talks about classroom objects, as you can see on the right. And then in context, later you will have all songs and everything. But here, in first thing you have is a story. The story where you see the classroom objects, but the story itself is bigger than just the classroom objects. There you have the vocabulary or the language, the introducing yourself, the greetings. But the idea is making the student aware of the situation or the feelings they can go through on a first day of classes. And this is the whole situation. Goodbye, mom, dad. Am I sad because I'm saying goodbye to my parents? Then an incident happens. They bump into each other. Oh no. How am I going to react? Am I going to be mad? Some spoiled children even show their tongue to other children when they are angry at them or they don't like someone. But no, here something happens, but instead of, you know, becoming angry, now I want to help you. We are going to help each other organize our stuff and singular plural things. And then I decide to say hi and introduce myself. And so in the first part, we are not friends, we don't know each other, but on my first day of class, I can make a new friend. Even the title of this unit, Making New Friends. Wait, what? I'm not teaching grammar, vocabulary, classroom objects. Yes, I am, but I'm focusing more on the social emotional aspect here. Obviously, this book, is the fancy restaurant. Like, you don't have to do anything. It's there. Obviously, the author of this course book is a specialist in social emotional learning, and that it would be great if we could work with this and if we wanted to apply social emotional learning in that way. But we don't have it that easy always, right? So in just one lesson, you can see how you are, from the concepts that we read, we are already checking some parts. We are promoting communication in different settings. Because I didn't wait until I'm inside the classroom to say hi. No, I want to say hi before. Positive codes of conduct. I'm going to help each other. I'm going to help this person with their stuff. I'm not going to be mean and just, you know, it's my stuff. Move. No, I want to help you. Let's do this together. We are promoting values, manners. Say hi. Say hello. And then we're also thinking about the feelings you, as a child in your first day of class, could be going through. Are you sad, as I said? Are you happy? So we try to transform an incident into something playful rather than a traumatic event. My first day was terrible. I dropped all my stuff. Ooh, I hate it. No, I made a new friend. So yeah, I again say this course book that I read, the teacher's book, and I learned about social emotional learning. I compare it to a fancy restaurant where you have everything there. And normally teachers that are using in Bolivia this kind of course book are teachers that teach English every single day in their schools. They have probably, I don't know, 10 hours per week to teach English. So they have lots of time, to also take advantage of all these extra resources and work with social emotional learning theories. And sometimes though, our course book is not going to introduce the active methodology like that. The active methodology might be probably, or the methodology in the book that you are using. I remember somebody also in other presentations talk about this book. I also saw it while working as a coach for this publishing company. And this, for example, this book has an activity called 3-time practice, which means that the first time you teach an activity, you focus on, obviously here, the grammar, past simples versus past continuous, and different degrees of probability, vocabulary, busier, comparatives. So this is specifically grammar vocabulary exercise that if we are running out of time, we would probably say just number 1, Isela, number 2, Jaime, number 3, Roxana, that's it, next activity. But this book, Personal Best, has a suggestion on how to work with the activities with the 3-time practice. There are videos on YouTube by the author of this book, very famous author, that says that we want to give it a twist to our lessons, to make a difference, to innovate. And instead of just focusing on the grammar and the vocabulary area, why don't we enjoy the English a little bit more? And sometimes this book gives you other ideas on how you as a teacher can, change and probably surprise yourself and your students with other ideas. So apart from just checking the answers, why not retelling the story of Alex Deans? Who is Alex Deans? Is the person. This text is a real story, guys. It's not. This is a real thing. Somebody that made a major invention to help people with that are blind. Or look at. I really like number 3. Prepare 4 or 5 questions, role play, and use your imagination. Put yourself in this person's situation. Ask questions to this person and say, imagine how you would feel and what would be your answers. Isn't this empathy, like social emotional learning, trying to put yourself in other people's situation? So I might not be blind. I might not probably know people that are blind, but here there is a story of somebody that made something heroic, let's say. And now I get a chance, to put myself in their shoes and think about the challenges or anything. I try to imagine their lives. So somehow this grammar vocabulary exercise could become, something more interesting, trying to, again, develop those qualities we need as professionals or people. And well, obviously, this book doesn't say social emotional learning, but it gives an idea of an activity that you can apply. Again, this is kind of like, it's giving me even extra ideas of what can I do. But it's not always the case like that. So I'm going to refer to a previous experience I had in 2018 and 2021, when before and during the pandemic, I was working in a rural area, in a public school, not in the jungle. I'm not going to exaggerate, but I was close to the jungle, 5 hours far from Santa Cruz de la Sierra, going to the north, closer to the Amazon, let's say. I was working in a rural area in a town where you can see this is an actual picture a couple of years ago, and they continue using even chalkboards. We don't have speakers, we don't have a screen, we don't have Wi-Fi, internet, nothing. But I had to, to work with them. We only had 1 hour of English per week. Imagine, not 10 hours per week, 1 hour. And sometimes we even had to miss that hour of English because of other things. That's the situation for lots of Latino teachers that are. And for some of them, it was funny because it was their very first time in their lives having an English teacher. They used to have an English teacher, but it was somebody that didn't speak English, only spoke Spanish and Portuguese. And so with me, it was their first experience, even listening to some words in English. It was incredible. They didn't even know the word hello or hi. I remember some students asking, Profe, ¿qué es I? Like reading it in Spanish. Teacher, what is H-I-E? It's hi. In my mind, wait, what? You don't even know what hi is? So incredible to have this kind of situation or context where your students don't even speak probably perfectly the Spanish language. Some of them spoke other native languages, Quechua or Guarayo language. So you have like multilingual classes. And I didn't have 10 hours of English per week. So what did I do? Forget about social emotional learning? No. Without knowing what social emotional learning was, I had a chance, and I couldn't use a course book because it was prohibited. But my principal said, you can use any activities you want. So I decided to teach them a song, and the song was to introduce themselves, to learn to introduce themselves, verb be, ask someone's name. And I remember some students were asking, I don't understand the song. What's your name? What's my name? Is it a tongue twister? And I had to explain, no, it's because you are asking someone your name or their name, what's your name? What's your name? And the answer would be, what's my name? Like, are you asking what my name is? Why are you asking me my name? Yes, I'm asking what's your name? Okay, my name is Dai. Hello, Dai. I was asking your name because I wanted to say hi to you. And again, now Dai starts saying, what's your name? Are you asking me my name? What's my name? Yes, I'm asking you your name. Oh, my name is this one. I was asking you because, I want to say hi to you properly with your name. Okay, hi and goodbye. So it was funny to explain the situation. It is like a conversation, but singing. And for my students that are very shy, even in their native tongues, in their mother tongues, to show interest in others is difficult. But no, here, feel free. I would encourage my students, ask people's names, address people by their names, show interest. It's not just anyone. Like I'm really thankful for Zoom because sometimes you can read people's names there. So it's not just another student, it's not just another teacher, but this person has a name. So it is important to ask other people's names, even if they are surprised. Yeah, insist, what's your name? I want to address you by your name. This is a value. And even if it's just 1 hour per class, and I would spend 45 minutes making them copy the song in their notebooks, teaching them the pronunciation, some of them teaching them how to sing the song. But at the end, we could reflect a little bit, what is the importance of this song? Show interest in others. And then I also been working for Cambridge English Center different years. I'm also working as an English speaking examiner for the University of Cambridge, in person or online. And there I also had a chance to use other course books, other situations, now working with teenagers, for example. This is just a very random page from a certain book called Real Life by Pearson, where you have a page of revision, grammar, vocabulary, listening, etc. Sometimes we don't have time for this, or sometimes we do this very fast. But during the pandemic, while we were giving online classes, I ran into this exercise that talks about Asperger's syndrome. And obviously the vocabulary and grammar here is word formation. And obviously this book, this particular page is just revision. The textbook only gives you the answers and then go back. Doesn't say, work with this text. But what I decided to do with the teenagers is to share my experience if I know somebody with autism. And it's a coincidence that Jaime is going to talk about this next month, right?
Yeah, next month.
Yeah, this is advert for next month. Don't miss next online meeting. So I try to share my experience. I know 2 people with autism, but they don't have extraordinary mental abilities, is what they say, but they are living independent lives as adults. Do you know anyone famous, or do you know anyone? Sometimes teenagers are a little bit afraid of talking about it. But if you are sharing your experience, right, you get to know, this is a reality. We cannot ignore that we live surrounded by different kinds of people. How are we going to relate with them? And I remember, because one of my friends is English, I asked permission to the principal at Cambridge to even bring my friend that has Asperger and to ask him questions in English, of course, because he's English. So this was probably just another activity, but I decided, let's give it a twist. I want this to be meaningful, to show my students, to make my students aware of the community. We are surrounded by different kinds of people. Let's ask them questions. Let's meet him probably. Do you know people like this? Probably you as teachers even have worked with children, with people with autism. I have. I didn't know. I had to, because their parents didn't tell me. I had to find out and do a lot of research how to work with someone with these characteristics. So even for me, this is helpful, not only for my students, but for me as a teacher. Wake up, realize you have lots of things going on around in the world. And so with that, we can see that how important it is to cover all things. It's not just about IQ, it's EQ, SQ. We can do it. Doesn't matter our situation, our context. Remember, AQ, we didn't talk about it, but it's because we want to give you the chance to also reflect about it and do your research. What are you going to do after these 3 presentations we had with you? Probably having lunch. I already read something in Facebook. I have to prepare lunch by. Probably some of you are hungry. It's noon in Bolivia. But let's remember the buffet idea. You have heard a lot during this session with Jaime, Isela, Paola, and me. Don't feel overwhelmed. Oh, no, now every single class I need to, apply multiple intelligence and creative thinking, and now social emotional learning. Not necessarily. I really loved what Paola said in the video to invite everyone. Paola quoted Einstein, I think, in her presentation. I'm going to quote Paola in my presentation now, because in the video she recorded to invite everyone to this session. She said the goal of these 3 presentations is to spark reflection, collaboration, enrichment of our teaching practices. And I think this is what we want to do. The same way it happened to me, like I heard a comment and I did my research, wonky research, making mistakes, but I did it, and I got inspired, and I remember things, and I decided to probably in the rest of the year, at least one class, I'm gonna try to apply one of these things, make my students aware of their emotions or the social aspects. So you can do the same. From everything you have heard today, try to bring something like an buffet. Don't eat everything. Just pick up some idea, one activity, do your own research, and improve, enhance your teaching practice. Give it a twist, refresh or update your teaching ways or your teaching methods. So thank you so much. That's it. I don't know how much it took me to.
Don't
to
worry, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry, dear Alba Maria. And now we have time for people who are here listening to you and watching you to talk about what you have presented. Number one, let me say thank you so much to each one of you. Thank you, dear. Who was number one? Number one was
Paola.
Paola. She was talking about critical thinking, and we were thinking and thinking about analyzing, making judgment, etc. And then it was Isela, talking about multiple intelligences and thinking about how we can develop our students in different intelligences. And finally, you, Paola, it was a beautiful wrap up of the three presentations. Now I understand, well, I understood many, many minutes ago about why you call this presentation What Makes Us Humans. And I guess it's been very insightful for all of us because now we have artificial intelligence a lot, lots of presentations and websites and information about this, but we are forgetting, we are neglecting the human side of the world. And thank you for presenting the different, what was that? Emotional
Quotient, the quotient.
quotient, and not only the intellectual, but also the social one, but also the interactive one, and everything else. So thank you so much because I did feel overwhelmed, Alba Maria. I said, wow, so many things that we have forgotten and that we have to retake. So now this is time for anyone to comment on these three wonderful and beautiful presentations. Who wants to start? We have Roxy, Hector, Raj, Rana, Medalik, Marco, Tecno, Santiago, Julio, Luis Arroyo, Carlos, Mario, Isabel, Flor, Lilian, Roberto, Alejandra, and the people in Facebook Live. So who wants to start? Making any comments in general about the three presentations, or do you prefer pointing out something that make you really think? Thank you, dear Rana, and go on. You may start.
Thank you very much. So I thought probably I could take the lead of saying something as everyone was pretty silent. Yeah. Uh, Thank you very much for three wonderful presentations. And if I just try to sum up the whole idea of whole the presentation is it's all about humanistic teaching, which is very important these days, and especially in the age of AI, a lot of technological integration, what I mean? So yes, AI is there. It's there to help us. But in the age of AI and this technological bombardment, we should not forget the humanistic teaching. I think Alba talked about Asperger's syndrome, teacher students with lots of gifted abilities, I mean, those kind of things. Remember, knowledge is just on a click. It's everywhere. Might be sometime our students don't need us as a teacher, but they definitely need a human being, which should be in their classroom. And that human, we can be there to help them, to support them. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear Rana. And if you don't know, Rana was one of my first friends who started presented 5 years ago when we started with this beautiful adventure. I didn't know we were going to survive 5 years. And believe it or not, dear Rana, I guess you were the second or the third one,
Yeah.
the third speaker. Wow.
Yeah.
And since then, it's been 5 beautiful, insightful years. Thank you so much, dear Rana, for always being present. And I hope to see you in Colombia next year.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Yeah. Thank you very much for
Save
that.
some
Thank
money,
you.
my dear friend.
Yes, I am doing that. Yeah, exactly. Well,
Okay.
living
Yeah.
in England and saving money, it's two different things, you know, man. Yeah, but I'm
Yeah. So go on, dear Raj, in Canada.
Thank you. I'll just give 3 points. And the first one I really noted was it's not about the learning. It's not about learning the facts. It's about really looking at the information. It's how we integrate the information. Then the next one, really important to me as well, is every child is gifted. They just open their gifts at different times. And the last one I would say is, people are valuable. Call them by their name. Don't just say, hi there, hey, how are you? Just call them by their name and pronounce their name correctly. Thank
Wow, my
you.
dear president of this community, I love that quote. Every child, everyone is gifted, but you just have to open your gift at the right time. Wow, so deep. Thank you so much, dear Raj. Go on, dear Roxy in Lima, Peru.
As following as Raj has already recommended, thank you very much, Paola, Isela, and Alba, for your time, for your expertise, for your sharing. And it makes me feel and think that we always have to be aware that our students are not containers. They're human beings. They feel and they have sensations, and we have to teach the way we would like to have been taught. And these kind of IQs that you have mentioned, EQ, then the other one, SQ, are the ones that we usually call like soft skills. No, not only the hard skills are the ones that have to be considered and implemented, but we have to use these soft skills because humans need that time. Artificial intelligence is all around, everywhere, but we are the ones who select them. We are the ones who decide which one to use, which one not. And if the books don't have the possibility to give us to use the to develop the social intelligence or the emotional intelligence, that is our task. There we are for that. And we can transform any structural material into emotional ones, feelings, and surviving with them. Thank you very much for this, and we always have to be aware of that as teachers, as we are. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Roxy. If you don't know, Roxy is the treasurer of our community. She keeps all our treasures. It's not money, but it's knowledge, it's passion, it's compassion, it's love and gratitude and everything else we have in our safe. And she's the owner of the key. Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Definitely. That's true and can be shared anytime.
Yes,
Thank you, Jaime,
yes.
for your words.
No, thank you. Anyone else, please, who wants to express his or her opinion before the final words of our three guests this morning? Well, let me read something that they wrote in Facebook Live. Maya Mays is a Peruvian teacher. She lives in the USA and she wrote a wonderful presentation, amazing session. Thank you. You truly opened my eyes. Thank you. Alba Maria Cruz. Well, I'm happy I help you. Elva from Peru. Thank you. Escuela de Idiomas. This is in Honduras. Thank you. You have remind me the importance of treating our students as human beings, dignity, integrity, love, and care. So thank you so much. Anybody else who wants to say something? Ruth, Luis, Marco, Medalik, Santiago, María, Isabel, Roberto, Alejandra, or Flor? No? Okay, on behalf of this community, thank you so much, Alba, Isela, and Paola. So it's time for you to say your final words in this presentation today. Not final words of your, but today. So go on, dear Paola.
Well, thanks for the invitation, Jaime. It was a great experience, and thank you everyone who joined the meeting today. And well, we'll keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Paola, and hope to see you and have you in another presentation soon. Before I forget, and please let me remind you about something. Let me show you. BETA TESOL Convention 2026 will be the 5th and 8th of January. It will take place in Santa
Santa
Cruz.
Cruz de la Sierra. Thank you, Jaime, for
No,
this
thank you,
opportunity.
Bolivia. Sorry, Isela, and
You know,
Isela will give us a room in her house, so don't worry about hotels or food. Just go to Isela's house.
yes, yes, we have a lot of accommodation here. Well, this is the first time that I feel so comfortable to talk to you. Thank you. I know this is a friendly environment that is you feel free to talk to say what you really feel. Thank you so much for all of you. And well, I just invite you to come to Santa Cruz de la Sierra. That we had our international conventions next year in January. So I hope you can come and just talk to me in private, and we can know what can we do with help you to come here. Maybe accommodation. I don't know. I'm trying just to guess what can I do.
Well, have
Okay, thank
breakfast,
you so
lunch,
much.
maybe have breakfast, lunch, and
Always,
dinner.
always for Beta Convention, we have lunch, everything for 3 days.
Okay, okay. And before giving the turn to the last speaker, just another reminder, our next webinar will be on September 22nd, and we will have two professionals from Puerto Rico TESOL, Evelyn Lugo, and Princess, wow, what a beautiful name, Princess Kimberly Garcia. Okay, and now it's time for you, dear Alba Maria Cruz Garcia, to say to say your final words in this presentation today.
It rhymes, right? Alba Maria Cruz Garcia.
Yes, it does.
Easy to remember. All right. So thanks a lot for everyone that is here in Zoom or in what Facebook, in WhatsApp, no. And obviously because this video will be uploaded to YouTube, I'm sure like
Yes,
all people
today,
will see
today.
it. Yeah, awesome. Thanks a lot, and hope we managed to inspire to some of you or all of you also, and feel excited and about always making changes and improving your teaching.
Yeah,
So
let me read for you. Isabel wrote interesting ideas to consider and different activities to practice with our students. Medalit Holiat, who is a Peruvian who lives in Switzerland, if I'm not mistaken, she wrote something very nice. Every lesson is a new teaching experience to improve and learn, which enlightens us in any further sessions. It is well known that every learner has their own characteristics that impact their personal learning skills development. Thus, as teachers, we are constantly facing with different individualities. I might consider that any lesson reinforces my standpoint on the importance of learning about our students' characteristics to design differentiated tasks that appeal to well-known methods and strategies to provide varied learning elements to involve every student. Nevertheless, I also consider experiencing open personal teaching strategies according to any particular lesson to be well thought out in the future lessons. I have enjoyed the 3 presentations and have always had the chance of learning. Thanks million. That's what I also say. Thanks a lot. 5 million, 10 million, because of your time, your expertise, and the very natural way you have presented it here, Isela, Paola, and Alba Maria. Hope to see you in Bolivia or in Peru or any place in the world. So thank you so much. Have a good Sunday and bon appetit.
And Alba, thank you for giving us homework.
Yes, we have homework. We have
Much like a
homework.
teacher. Look up AQ.
Nice to see you, Rana. See you soon again. Thank you, Ruth, Medalil, Luis.
Bye-bye. Hope to
Bye-bye.
see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Time
Thank
for
you.
me to do the cooking and the washing up. Bye-bye.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I can't believe that.
Why? I'm a hardworking man. You know that.
Okay, yeah, multitask.
Yes,
Okay,
always.
okay.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
Isela,
Bye-bye.
Roxy,
You too,
Hector.
bye-bye.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.